Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to call the New Bern Redevelopment Commission meeting to order this evening. Vice Chair, if we could have the roll call.
Certainly. Commissioner Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Here.
Commissioner Proctor?
Here.
Commissioner Morgan? Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner Powram? Commissioner Wallace? Chair Lee?
Here.
Vice Chair Paragoy? Here. Executive Director Bowman?
Here.
Ex officio members, Alderman Prill, Alderman Best, Alderman Royal. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Our next item is to approve the agenda. Do we have any corrections, additions, or?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we move agenda item number 11 up to between 6 and 7, following item number 6, which is approval of minutes.
Okay. Do we have a second on that, or any questions?
Second.
All right, questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we will be moving that agenda item. Do we have our guiding principles? Did we miss them? Okay, all right, it's okay. All right. At this time, item 5, we will be having public comments, and remind us that it is limited to 4 minutes this evening. Our first one will be from Ms. Ruth Cooper at 1022 Colleton Way, Trent Woods.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I just want to remind everybody about my grassroots anti-litter campaign. This is a bag that was given out to us at New Bern 101 by the Public Works Department. So if it says, if you litter, you lose, and they're a big part of picking up litter, I'm sure they would like an anti-litter campaign. And I've spoken to the commissioners and the aldermen about an anti-litter campaign like Pitt County has. And I'm thinking after this next big cleanup in Duffyfield would be a good time to start it. I told them that, maybe they will. This last cleanup in Duffyfield in December, I did not even know about it until after it happened. So I'm really hoping that the one coming up May 5th and 6th, there will be a lot more publicity. I've heard that not a lot of people show up to help with this. May 6th is also a clean sweep, so some people will be involved. Whether they'll come to Duffyfield or not, I don't know. Supposedly, if there's more trash cans, people are more prone to put litter in them. I've got a list from George Childs of all the trash cans in Duffyfield, the public ones. And then I made a list of vacant lots that I think could benefit from trash cans. If y'all would have any interest in looking at these, and I don't know what the policy is or the procedure to get more public trash cans in an area. I know there's 3 public trash cans right down at this intersection here in downtown New Bern, and the other intersections sometimes have 3 trash cans. Obviously, no intersection in Duffyfield does. And some of the ones that have them aren't well used, I've heard. But some of these big vacant lots where litter accumulates do not have trash cans, and I think it would be good if they did. And of course, I have more t-shirts with me, and I'll be giving them out at Martin Marietta Park at the Earth Day event if anybody needs a t-shirt. I have large, extra large, and XXL, so that's it. And this isn't working for some reason, but anyway.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rue. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Our next is Ms. Barbara Sampson, New Bern, North Carolina. Ms. Sampson, yes. Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Yes, first let me give honor to God. And I was just wondering if that house on Eubanks Street, if it's still going to be a transitional house, or have someone purchase it to own the house. Because I know it was supposed to be a transition. Then I heard somebody saying that somebody purchased it. But I say I come here, and I'm pretty sure that you guys know exactly what's happening.
Okay. We're going to be addressing that in our report for the housing work group. And if that still doesn't answer your question, we'll talk to you afterwards. But yes, we are going to address that.
Okay, and then I just want to remind people that they're gonna have fill the truck at Trinity. Victor Taylor, he's leading it, where they getting toiletries, water, and different items, sanitary items, and anything that's not non-perishable. And they're gonna take it to Mississippi. The kickoff day was today from 4 to 7, but you still have a chance to donate, because we're doing it next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, from 10 to 12, and then it's going to be, or 10 to 1, and then it's going to be from 4 to 7. So anybody you know that like to donate, you know, just keep them in mind. All right, thank you.
Is that Trinity on Broad Street?
Yeah, Trinity on Broad Street, right
Okay.
beside, you know,
All right.
5 Point, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. That is fill the truck. Thank you so much. All right. I think that was our last one. Okay. All right. Again, thank you all so much. Item 6, we have approved minutes, March 8th, 2023 minutes, and you should have received those minutes. Corrections?
Madam Chair, I noted two things that probably need to be corrected. Under those present, Tabari Wallace is listed, and then under those absent, Tabari Wallace is listed. He's a pretty amazing guy, but I don't think he can be in two places at once.
I don't think you can.
Although I'm not sure. Sometimes I believe he can, the way he travels around and gets around.
Okay.
And then under item number 7, the last line says Alderman Royal and Alderman wanted more insight. And I'm thinking that should be Alderman Prill.
On the eminent domain?
Yes.
Do you remember, was it Alderman?
Or it might have been Alderman
Okay.
Best, I don't know.
What's best?
Okay.
Alderman Best, okay. Okay, all right, make that correction then. Okay? Any other corrections? Okay, if we could have a motion to approve with the corrections?
So moved.
Second. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you so much. Okay, we are moving item 11 up to, moving item 11, excuse me, and that is our working groups report. So the working group report we're going to have is just housing tonight, unless Commissioner Bryant, you joined the neighborhood group, but I don't think y'all had opportunity to meet, have you?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we will have the housing working group. Kip and Ben?
Yeah, we did meet in the latter part of March to deal with the things that we were assigned at the last meeting. And one of the first things we talked about was the Eubank Street house. So we can get Barbara some answers to what her questions were. So Beth, would you give us an update on?
The Eubank Street house is moving along in construction. We have approved and paid 3 of the pay applications. We have a 4th one that I've just received, and Commissioner Bryant was able to visit the site with me one day last week. And right now the house is he's finished that re-roofing, the new porches on the house. He's got the new mechanical systems in, the lighting and electrical systems in, and he has just insulated the house and finished with the drywall. And that house, in order to be with the CDGB funds that we have, will be housing that will be provided for a low to moderate income family. And the Redevelopment Commission will not be having that as a property that we are maintaining.
Yeah, we're maintaining. So in other words, what she's saying is going to be low to moderate rental or home ownership. It is not transitional housing. So far, there's only one in the area, and that's on Roundtree Street that's getting ready to open. So that one will not be.
Be either home buyer or rent, or buyer to rent to low market income families.
Yes.
If you recall, we're prohibited from owning property and renting it. So we will be selling it to somebody with probably conditions that it be, if it's not owner occupied, that it will be rented to a lower or moderate income family.
Okay.
And the contractor is planning to be finished with that in the middle of May. So he is
Okay.
more than halfway done with the construction.
Good. Good.
Okay, to further our agenda from our last housing work group meeting, we were presented the purchase proposal from Mr. Charles Diggs for 209 Bryan Street and 821 West Street that was originally made in August of 2022. These parcels, at that time, we did not own, but we requested, the commission requested that the county convey them to us so that we could convey them with conditions. And that was done, and we just recently obtained title to those properties, and we're making the following recommendations concerning that. The first that we agreed to was that we would establish the minimum bid price on the properties at current full tax value. However, we have re-looked at in that we actually signed the resolution to sell the property under our existing rules of 75% of the existing tax value. So I think we need to honor that. So we will honor that offer to purchase that was originally submitted by Mr. Diggs. The other thing that we talked about, because this was part of the process, was that we were going to place conditions on the properties. At 209 Bryan Street, we recommend that we put a condition that construction of a home must begin within 12 months of closing. Start of construction will be defined as having a completed foundation for the home. At 821 West Street, we recommended that the home construction begin within 24 months of closing. And again, the start of construction will be defined as having a completed foundation for the home. We'll also include conditions on both properties that they will have a reversion clause for non-compliance, not meeting those timetables, at which time if they are in non-compliance, the properties will revert back to the Redevelopment Commission. And also that any home not owner occupied must be sold or rented to low or moderate income households. And that is what we're trying to do in keeping in line with our mission as a Redevelopment Commission. So their recommendation for restrictive covenants is on the sale of the property to Mr. Diggs as we go forth. That's our recommendation to the commission. They'll have to be voted upon, of course, but I'm just giving the report. We discussed the current proposal that had been submitted by Mr. Peter Fry on the Jones Street property, 207 and 203 Jones Street, and we recommend rejection of that proposal. We discussed the offer to purchase of property on Pollock and Norwood Street that had been referred to us, and we recommend that we decline that offer. We discussed the status of the property on West A Street. We have recently been conveyed 708 West A Street that had a dilapidated home on it. We recommend that the house be removed. We also recommend that we direct legal staff to seek a boundary line agreement on the property line between 710 West A Street and 718 West A Street. We reviewed progress on the Jones Street property, and we recommended the approval of a map combining 207 and 203 Jones Street into one parcel. We approved, with some modifications, a subdivision map of that parcel, creating 3 lots facing Walt Bellamy Drive. The lots will be 42 feet wide, 42 feet wide, and the corner lot will be 53 feet wide. I think those surveys and everything are all in your packets. We reviewed 4 potential house plans for the lots and have sent them to several contractors for pricing. And we are revising the budget for the projected, for the project based on revisions to the plan. And that is also included in your packet, the revised budget that we have created. And we're reviewing all these materials as we go along with Alderman Astor, who is the individual funding this project. Our final action for that meeting was that we reviewed the floor plan for the Wellness Center created by Ms. Walker based on information provided by the Health and Wellness Work Group. We agreed to forward the plan to the Health and Wellness Work Group to get input from their partners. Once the plan is revised based on input received, the project will be turned over to the Health and Wellness Work Group for implementation. So we had a busy meeting, let's put it that way. We went through a lot of stuff. And all of the information is in your packet, the surveys, the house plans, and the budget, so that we've talked about for the Jones Street project. So any questions from the commission about housing work groups work?
Commissioner Bryan and Commissioner Proctor, you want to wait till we get to these items on the agenda? Do you have questions now?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay.
That's the report of the housing work group.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, well, then we will move on to items 7 on the agenda. It is consider adopting a resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 209 Bryan Street, which we just talked about in the housing report. So we need if there are no questions, can we make that motion, or does someone have questions regarding 209 Bryan Street and what the process is?
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that we
I was just going to ask one quick question, just because I noticed Mr. Diggs come in.
Yes. he can.
Okay. So we did identify a 12-month and then a 24-month window for for getting construction started on the 2. I did not know if it would be appropriate to gauge Mr. Diggs' interest as a part of this to see which one would be more appropriate to have 12 and 24. If he's going to possibly
more flexible.
reside in one and build his own residence, I don't know if that would be the one that he'd prefer to have the 12-month window or the.
My understanding is. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Apologize for putting you on the spot, Mr. Diggs. Trying to help you out as part of the process.
Appreciate it. Now, my understanding was the Bryan Street, I need to have built by in 12 months.
you have to have started construction.
Yeah, started construction 12 months, and then 24 for West Street.
Yes.
That's fine.
It's fine, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, we got that motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend the upset bid process for 209 Bryan Street with the following restrictive covenants placed on the property. That construction of a home, it must begin within 12 months of closing. Start of construction will be defined as having a completed foundation for the home. That we insert a reversion clause into the deed, and that any home that is not owner occupied, such as if Mr. Diggs would decide not to live in that house, then it must be sold or rented to low or moderate income households.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
all right, questions, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it, thank you. Agenda item 8, consider adopting a resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 821 West Street. And that was also talked about in the Housing Working Group's report as well.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I do want to bring to your attention that there is a resolution regarding 821 West Street included in your agenda package.
Yes.
There is an Exhibit A attached to said resolution that articulates the restrictive covenants that were recommended by the housing group, save one exception. The resolution that has been incorporated into your packet indicates that construction of a residential dwelling shall begin within 12 months. If your inclination is to adopt the resolution, the recommendation rather, from the housing work group as it's been agreed upon with Mr. Diggs here today, then you just need to indicate that information on the resolution that's been provided.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yes. You're making that motion?
I'll make the motion that we recommend
That you initiate.
initiation of the upset bid process for 821 West Street with the covenant restrictions that construction of the home begin within 24 months of closing. And the start of construction will be defined as having a completed foundation for the home, that the deed contain a reversion clause for noncompliance, and any home not owner occupied must be sold or rented to low or moderate income households.
Okay,
I'll second that one as well.
all right. All right. Any questions, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. You can go to HUD.gov and find out the medium income for Craven County. I'm sure you know that, the 60, 80, and the 30%. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, item 9, discussion on 203, 207 Jones Street with the board to have an option to vote on one of the following: initiate the upset bid process. Option B, authorize the initiation of the subdivision process.
I see Mr. Vice Chair looking at me.
Yes.
So I'll give you all an overview
Thank
of where
you.
we are procedurally and give you a little information about the choices that are before you this evening. As you all are very familiar, that Mr. Fry came, I believe the last meeting was in March, and made a presentation to you all. He had submitted offers to purchase on 203 and 207 Jones Streets. I do believe that those offers to purchase have been included in your agenda package. You also have heard this evening that the Housing Work Group has made the recommendation that those properties not be sold at this time. Instead, that you all authorize them to recombine 203 and 207 Jones Streets and go through the subdivision process to replat them and reorient them into 3 lots towards Walt Bellamy Drive. Obviously, this commission cannot do both. Sell 203 and 207 Jones Streets as they exist right now, through the upset bid process, and subdivide them at the same time. So we're at a fork in the road where you all must make a decision. So tonight, it is the purview of this commission to discuss and ultimately make a decision as to whether you would elect option A, which would initiate the upset bid process for Mr. Fry or whomever to be the final highest bidder to acquire the real properties located at 203 and 207 Jones Streets. There is a resolution to that effect included in your agenda package. You will note that there are no conditions attached to that resolution. If the inclination of a majority of your members is to initiate the upset bid process, perhaps you consider whether any conditions would be appropriate to go along with that process. If a majority of you are more inclined to elect option B, which is to authorize the initiation of the subdivision process, then this body would move forward with Contact and Development Services to recombine and replat those lots, those 2 lots, into 3 lots oriented towards Walt Bellamy Drive, consistent with the recommendation from the housing group. So the task tonight is to discuss, and if a majority of you can agree on either option A or B, to make that decision tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Attorney. Let me start with Commissioner Proctor to see if you have any questions or thoughts on that. You've heard the Housing Working Group's recommendation. You heard some of the presentations on Jones Street, and so your thoughts or?
I think just a question on the subdivision process. Is that something that, and I apologize, I didn't know the prior budget, so I saw the updated budget, but I didn't compare or whatever. But so who would this commission pay for the subdivision, or would that be something that the ultimate purchaser that we've been speaking to will pay for in their purchase? Or how would that work, basically? Who pays for the subdivision?
It's a minimum cost now at planning, got no fees will be done?
Oh, yeah, well, there's no fees to be done with it because it's administrative.
Okay.
And then the only cost would be in recording the plats.
Okay.
And I think they're $21 a sheet, so not a tremendous amount of money, but the cost of that is, and the surveying itself is all wrapped up in the budget. The process that will go forth is with this current plan and budget, if we decide to do this, Alderman Astor will ask the Board of Aldermen to allocate this amount of money from his ARP funds to the Redevelopment Commission, and that will establish a project fund for us to work from. And then these kind of costs, these seed money costs, as I think they've called it in the past, will all be derived from that pot of money. So these things will not have to come out of our normal fund balance, they'll come out of this project.
Okay, and do we have, out of curiosity, do we have a backup plan if the Board of Aldermen does not approve Alderman Astor's project fund?
No, if they do not approve Alderman Astor's funding of this project, then this project will go away.
So will the lots still be subdivided? Like, that'll be done whether?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay. I think that's all my questions.
Commissioner Bryant?
She asked my last question.
Okay. Commissioner Walker?
I have no questions, been working on it a while.
Commissioner Strickland?
No questions.
Dare I ask? Vice Chair, do you have
No,
any questions?
no, I don't.
Okay, so what is the pleasure of the commission tonight after all that we've heard, questions and answered, and a recommendation of the housing group?
If anybody has questions about the budget that you've been looking at, I'd be glad to go over that with you also, so that you thoroughly understand what we're getting into.
Okay, no questions?
Looking to see if questions are forthcoming.
No questions forthcoming.
Do you, it might be appropriate to mention that when we purchased these properties, the intent of the Redevelopment Commission was to buy 2 properties and develop them and combine them and subdivide them so that we could have 3 good properties in a well-established neighborhood and add more housing stock.
Yep.
That was our plan before we even received the offer to purchase from Mr. Fry. And we had talked about subdividing these a long time ago, so I want to make sure we all remember that.
Yep. Okay. All right, if there are no more questions, could we have a motion, make a choice, and we'll see where it goes.
All right. I make a motion that we authorize the initiation of the combination and subdivision process for 3 lots facing Walt Bellamy of the current 203 and 207 Jones Street lots.
Okay. We have a second?
I second that.
All right, any questions, discussion?
Roll call vote, Madam Chair.
Need a roll call?
Commissioner Bryant,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Chair Lee,
Yes.
Vice Chair Perigord, yes.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may. Madam Attorney, just to double check procedurally, do we have to explicitly decline the offer from Mr. Fry for the property, or is that implicit based on what we just did?
I would entertain another motion to either accept or reject Mr. Fry's offer.
Okay. All right.
I'd make a motion that we formally decline Mr. Fry's offer.
Okay, got a second?
Regarding 203 and
Yes,
207
regarding
Jump Street.
203, 207 Jones Street.
Second.
All right. Questions, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Roll call.
Oh, we need a roll call?
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Bryant,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor,
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland,
Yes.
Chair Lee,
Yes.
Vice Chair Paragoy, yes.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, I will add, agenda item number 10, the executive director's, report, and her report is in your packet, and she's,
Yes, my report is in your packet. I just wanted to remind you guys that we do have a nuisance officer assigned to the redevelopment area full-time. When he first started, about a year ago or so, there were only 4 cars that were towed. Is currently 158 vehicles that were removed. However, it's still currently on hold. If you have not seen that process happening, they are looking at the process on, towing vehicles at this time. He's working really close with the inspector, and I'm starting to receive a lot of inquiries regarding individuals that are local owners of property seeking to sell their property, or if they have been charged with making certain repairs, then they will contact the office and offer the Redevelopment Commission the opportunity to purchase. So look for those calls to continuously increase, especially with the surplus list going out. But again, I am seeing that those inquiries come from private owners as well. If you see in the packet, there are a list of priorities that may be discussed in May, and also the 1772 Foundation has a proposal that they would like to present in May, which they have some funds that they would like to share with the Redevelopment Commission, and they're requesting 15 minutes to go over that information at the May meeting. Also in your packet, you will see a financial report. That report comes out on the 10th of every month. So it may not, I think the next meeting is on the 12th, if I remember correctly, but there will be an updated report on the 10th. You see that there are 3 pots of money for the Redevelopment Commission. It's the redevelopment funds, the CDBG funds, and the opera funds. So that gives you an overview of our finances. If you have any questions, let me know. I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity. This will be my last board meeting, and anything that I could do within the next couple of weeks, I have put in my 2 weeks' notice. My last day will be April the 28th. Thank you.
any questions for Ms. Bowman?
We got a notice from the person, the abatement, nuisance abatement about mowing 207 and 203.
Yes, sir.
Can we get Public Works to mow that?
Yes, they are already on it. Thank
Okay,
you.
great, thank you.
Yes.
And the success of the getting rid of the junk cars in the redevelopment area has been a major achievement, and that is a big part of getting rid of, making the community look better and cleaner and more presentable. And that's been pass that on to everyone, that is also a great success story.
So, Inspector, Nuisance Officer Holmes, he is willing to come in and do a presentation on the process just so you can see how he addresses not only the vehicles, but the houses and the land and stuff as well. So if that's something that we are open to, he would be willing to come and make.
The other question I have is, the people who are calling you wanting to sell property, are most of them vacant lot owners or housing units? Do you have any feel for that?
Yes, it varies. For instance, the last couple that I spoke with, they had a number of houses that were rental property. They said that they wanted to get out the rental business, and they wanted to know if we were interested. So when I called them to follow up, they changed their mind, and they said they will hold on for a minute, for whatever that means, and they will get back with us when they, assess, the prices and everything.
Okay.
But anything that comes down, of course, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible to see if that is something that you want to move forward with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for? Okay. Got number 11 already. Do we have any new business tonight?
I'd like to bring up something for us to consider, maybe for our next meeting. The new tax values are out on properties, and some of the tax values have increased a little bit in the redevelopment area. We have a policy, an adopted policy, that we sell properties that somebody wants to acquire from us at 75% of current tax value. I would like for us to consider limiting that policy to properties on the surplus list, where we know we do not want them, or we've already acknowledged that we're not going to be able to use them. And then any properties that we own that are not on the surplus list do not fall into that particular process, and that they then become priced individually by us when there is a request to purchase, that we can appraise them at what we feel like is a current value and begin discussions with somebody who is interested in purchasing them. Is that even possible, Madam?
We need to do that at a work session, or we can put it on the agenda for next time.
Let's find out if it's legal.
So the commission, a majority of you can change or create a policy whenever. In this case, if you want to change the policy, I would recommend putting the change on the agenda. That way that the public has notice and you can receive any public comments that you think might be helpful in making a determination. And if the majority of these members approve that policy change, then it can be enacted. One thing that you may consider in making any changes to the existing policy is how that policy can be implemented. So if it's my recollection that the creation of a policy establishing a minimum bid for persons interested in purchasing property that you own was to put the public on notice about what the expectations were. So if you're going to change the policy in any meaningful way, you may want to consider whether the change that you're considering will give clarity to the public, which I think was your initial intention. And that's just not a legal answer, but just a practical note of wisdom.
Okay. All right. So,
But I think the direction that I'm hearing with the nods is that staff place on the May agenda a revised minimum bid policy with some of the considerations that I think Vice Chair has raised.
okay. All right.
And we might also defer that to the housing work group to create a draft of a policy that so everybody can see it, rather than just talking through it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think we need to go into closed session tonight, but before we go in, yes, sir.
Yeah, real quick, just because it was on the housing working group task list with regards to West 8th Street, do we need to formally give staff any guidance to move forward on that, or was it mentioned out of the working group report adequate?
No, sir, we need direction from the board.
Okay.
Yeah. Ms. Bowman, wait just a minute.
Take-
70,
Yeah, okay, but I'd like to make a motion that we,
Direction is fine.
no. Mm-mm. For, you talking about 708 West Street?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Wednesday. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we direct the removal of the dilapidated house on 708 West A Street.
Second.
Second, all right, discussion,
Do you need that?
questions? All right, all in favor, aye?
Wait a minute.
We need a roll call?
So one note, there has been a question, and I don't have all of the parcel numbers memorized or the addresses memorized, but there has been a question about one of the structures. There were several structures on these lots. And one of the structures from the GIS tax map appears to either be on or over the property line. Are we talking about that house or
No,
another one?
this is a house sitting on the piece of property we just got from the county.
Okay, that's not anywhere near the boundary line.
Right, the one with no roof.
Okay.
The roof was
Yeah.
removed some way, shape, or form.
Okay, if you all feel comfortable, I don't know what the demolition cost would be or if asbestos testing is required, but if you're comfortable, then you can move forward.
Yeah, we need to get a quote from
I
Yeah.
Public
think
Works.
we've already had one, haven't we?
Yes, we received, it was 4,000 and some change, and I just want to remind you guys that, in looking at the budget, if there's any other projections and we need to look forward for a budget amendment, we may want to look at that too, as some of the projects that are coming up, to make sure we have enough money.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and we have a second, all in favor?
Roll call.
We need to do a roll call, okay, Vice Chair?
I got my glasses on this time. Commissioner Bryant?
I knew it, yes.
I'm not as good as the mayor going back and forth. I just got to read off this list. Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor?
Yes.
Commissioner Strickland?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
Yes,
And Commissioner Perigord, yes.
all right, motion carries. Thank you, thank you.
And there's one more thing that we want to do, and that is to, and I don't think this requires a motion, does it, to direct staff?
Just give us direction.
I'd like to recommend that we give staff direction to establish a boundary line agreement on properties, on the property line between
718.
718 West A Street and 710 West A Street.
Yeah. Okay. All right, all right. We
Would
don't
that
need a
not
motion or
suffice?
anything for that, do we?
No, direction
okay.
is fine as long as there's a general consensus
Yeah.
by the members.
Yeah, is that okay? Okay, okay, all right, all right. Anything else, Vice Chair? Okay. I still think we do need to go into closed session, but before we do, just want to take a moment to thank Ms. Patricia for all that she has done, all the work that she has put in, and she came here from the other place on the coast, running, but we just want to make sure that she knows that we appreciate every single thing that she has done, and we pray God's best for you as you leave this place, and if we can ever be of assistance to you, you have all of our cell numbers.
Yes. Don't block me. Thank you.
Well, I'm blocking you.
We need to go into closed session.
Yes, ma'am, pursuant to General Statute 143, 318.11A5 to discuss the acquisition of real property.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming this evening. A motion to come back from closed session, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Are we back live again?
There we go. I hope the mic's.
Should we be on, Patricia? All right, I see video.
Okay,
There we go.
okay,
Madam Chair, make a motion that we adjourn.
A second.
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate your
All in
time.
favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Okay.